Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by, and welcome to the Jiayin Group third quarter of 2020 earnings conference call. Currently, all participants are in listen-only mode. Later, we'll conduct a question-and-answer session, and instructions will follow at that time. As a reminder, we are recording today's call. If you have any objection, you may disconnect at this time. I will now turn the call over to Ms. Julia Chen, Managing Director of the Blueshirt Group Asia. Ms. Chen, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us on today's conference call to discuss Jiayin Group's financial results for the third quarter of 2020. We released the result early today. The press release is available on the company's website as well as from Newswire services. On the call with me today are Mr. Yan Dinggui, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Charlie Fan, Chief Financial Officer, and Mrs. Xu Yifang, Chief Risk Officer. Before we continue, please note that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under Safe Harbor provision of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual result may be materially different from the expectation expressed today. Further information regarding these and other risks and uncertainties is included in the company's public filing with SEC. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statement except as required under applicable law. Also, please note that unless otherwise stated, all the figures mentioned during the conference call are in Chinese RMB. With that, let me now turn the call over to our CEO, Yan Dinggui. Mr. Yan will speak in Chinese, then our IR Director, Shirley Bai, will translate his comments to English. Go ahead, Mr. Yan.
大家好，感谢大家参加嘉银金科2020年第三季度财务电话会议。我们对本季度扎实的业绩感到满意，公司在推动业务转型以及成本结构优化等方面取得了重大进展。最值得注意的是，截止2020年11月10日 ，P2P 的余额已完全清零，这对嘉银来说是一个重大里程碑。 标志着嘉银金科已成功转型为一家金融科技公司。我们先进的技术和数据算法，以及一流的信用风险系统，对公司的成功转型起到了至关重要的作用。目前，嘉银金科为金融机构提供撮合服务，实现能够为我们平台上大量的借款人提供优质的产品和服务。
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our third quarter 2020 earnings conference call. We are pleased to report another solid quarter. We made significant progress in driving our business transformation, shifting funding sources to institutions, and optimizing our cost structure. Most notably, we are excited to have reached an important milestone. As of November 10, 2020, the outstanding loan balance of our legacy P2P lending business was reduced to zero. This signifies that we have successfully completed the transition to being a fintech company with a platform fully funded by institutions. We did this by leveraging our technology, our advanced data algorithms, and our risk system. We facilitate and enable financial institutions to offer products and services to our large database of borrowers.
就在1年前。 我们仍是一家以个人投资者为导向的平台，资金来源超过90%来自于个人，能够在短短1年内实现业务的全面转型，这充分说明了我们在敏捷且出色的执行能力。更重要的是，通过改变我们的业务流程，我们能够完善平台的功能，使得机构可以更快、更轻松地入驻我们的平台，并进行整合。我们的团队具有打造规模化金融科技公司的能力。 凭借全新且坚实的业务基础以及有影响力的品牌知名度，我们有信心在未来几年内实现强劲增长。
The magnitude of this transition is remarkable. Just 1 year ago, our platform was over 90% funded by individuals. Being able to complete institutional funding in just 1 year demonstrates our agility and our outstanding execution capability. By transforming our business process, we were able to enable the functionality of our platform such that institutions can onboard and integrate easily. We built the team and the capabilities to scale and transform to a fintech service company with a technology platform optimized to serve financial institutions. With a new solid foundation under our business, combined with strong brand recognition, we are confident that we can achieve robust growth for years to come.
尽管受到市场不确定性和转型压力的影响，我们仍保持了可观的盈利水平。通过谨慎的成本控制和更好的运营效率，我们保持了健康的利润率。本季度净利润大幅提升约人民币8840万元，同比增长8.1%，环比增长115.1%。
Despite market uncertainty and the incredible speed of our business transformation, we sustained attractive profitability throughout the process. We achieved healthy margins through vigilant cost control and better operating efficiency. Net income reached RMB 88.4 million in the quarter, up 8.1% year-over-year and 115.1% sequentially, a remarkable improvement.
业务的成功转型让我们能够加快与机构伙伴的合作，进一步分散资金来源，并降低资金成本。自11月10日宣布 P2P 清零后，我们立即与3家机构达成合作。目前平台已与19家机构实现合作，另有36家机构正在协商准备中。我们相信，公司在不久的将来会取得更大的进展。
With our successful business transition, we were able to accelerate collaboration with institutional partners to further diversify our funding resources and drive down our funding cost. Since announcing on November 10th that our legacy P2P lending business was done, we immediately onboarded another 3 institutions. We now have 19 institutions on the platform and have another 36 institutions in discussions and preparation. We believe we are well positioned to achieve greater progress in the near future.
在监管方面，监管机构制定了金融科技公司发展相关的政策或指导性文件。政策主要针对小额贷款或联合贷款，对我们的商业模式影响有限。作为一家金融科技公司，我们认为监管机构已经认可金融科技带给金融系统的价值，例如线上获客或服务、大数据分析或风控等。我们协助传统金融机构创造更加高效的流程，提升各方面效益。我们一如既往的审慎经营，并在合规、合法的以及盈利方面一直保持着良好的记录。作为领先的金融科技公司之一，我们对未来保持乐观态度。随着业务模式转型完成，我们有信心恢复增长，并从中国快速发展的消费金融市场中获益。
On the regulatory front, regulators have put in place policies and guidance associated with the development of fintech companies. The policies mainly cover micro-lending and co-lending, which have limited impact on our business model. We have fully involved into a fintech company providing platform services. We think government regulators recognize the value that fintech companies bring to the financial system, such as online customer acquisition and servicing, big data analysis, and risk management. We complement traditional financial institutions by creating more efficient process that benefit everyone. This is all positive, and we think it's good news for us. We have a proven track record of being prudent, being agile, being fully compliant with evolving policies, while maintaining attractive profitability. As one of the leading fintech players, we are optimistic about the future. With our business model transition completed, we feel well positioned to reignite growth and benefit from the fast-growing consumer finance market in China.
现在我将电话交给我们的首席财务官查理，请继续。
With that, I will now turn the call over to our CFO Charlie. Charlie, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Yan and Shirley, and thank you everyone for joining our call today. As Mr. Yan just mentioned, we ended Q3 on a strong note. Notably, as of November 10th, Jiayin is no longer a P2P lending company, as we close out our last individually funded loan. This quarter, we continue to operate conservatively while achieving attractive profitability. We stayed our focus on serving high-quality borrowers, which led to our repeat borrowing rate reaching 74.5%. Loans performed well, and investor confidence remained strong. This creates an outstanding foundation for future growth. Now let me briefly go over the financial results for the third quarter. Please note that, unless otherwise specified, all financial figures are in RMB. In the interest of time, I will not walk through each item by line on this call. Please refer to our earnings release for more details. I will just highlight some of the key points here. Loan origination volume was RMB 3.3 billion, down 29.4% year-over-year, but up 48.8% sequentially. This was impressive considering the state of our business transition and the current market conditions. Net revenue was RMB 401.3 million, down 21.4% year-over-year, but up 63.8% sequentially. The big sequential jump was due to the other revenue of RMB 77 million. The increase was primarily due to the variable consideration related to automated investment program recognized from loans previously facilitated under the P2P business. Since we have now exited P2P lending, our P2P-related revenues will continue to shrink, and there will be no further P2P-related revenue starting from 2021. Moving on to costs. This year's cost-cutting efforts are bearing fruit. As you can see in our greatly reduced operating expenses this quarter, total operating expenses were RMB 251.3 million, down 41.2% year-over-year. Origination and servicing expenses were RMB 59.5 million, down 41.1% year-over-year, primarily due to decreased loan origination volume. Allowance for uncollectible receivables and contract assets was RMB 15.8 million, down 76.7% from RMB 67.8 million in the same period of 2019. The decrease was primarily due to two factors. First, the overall decrease in facilitation volume, and the second, the lower credit risk under the new business model. G&A expense and R&D expense fell to RMB 37.3 million and RMB 39.2 million respectively. This was mainly due to decreased share-based compensation expense allocated to G&A and R&D expenses, as well as lower compensation and other business-related expenses. We continued to reduce our customer acquisition and advertising spending while still focusing on higher quality borrowers. This enabled us to effectively reduce the sales and the marketing expenses related to loan originations. Sales and the marketing expense was down 34.7% year-over-year to RMB 99.5 million. This quarter, on a conservative basis, we also had an RMB 34.6 million loss provision related to a short-term investment. We will closely monitor the process and take necessary actions to minimize the loss. We were able to achieve attractive profitability through tight cost control and improved operating efficiency. We posted a net income of RMB 88.4 million, up 8.1% year-over-year, and 115.1% sequentially. Turning to the balance sheet, we ended the quarter with RMB 94.8 million in cash and equivalents, compared with 69.9 million as of June 30, 2020. Before I conclude, I want to mention that on September 30, we completed the acquisition of a 35% equity interest in King Best Investments. The purchase price was Hong Kong dollar 105 million, or approximately $17 million. This was settled by offsetting against the receivables held by the company from SmartPay. King Best has the internet micro-lending license in China. As the government has rolled out many policies to further regulate the micro-lending industry, we will remain alert to adjust our strategy and assess our investment according to this ever-evolving rules and policies. In summary, we are making steady progress in all regards. We are optimistic about the long-term promise of the fintech industry. With our optimized business structure and a strong execution capability, we can navigate through any future policies changes and drive growth and profitability. With that, we can open the call for questions. Mr. Yan, our CEO, and Mr. Xu, our Chief Risk Officer, will answer questions. Operator, please go ahead.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the question and answer session. And for your questions, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. To cancel the request, it is the pound or hash key. For your questions, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. First question is from the line of Andrew Scott of Roth Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my questions. Congrats on the quarter. Very strong results, and great to see the progress you guys are making. First question here regards to revenue and margin. So great quarter on the top line. Can you provide some extra information on the other revenue? I believe it was 77 million RMB. It was a big gain there quarter over quarter and year over year. So some extra details on the other revenue, and very strong margins this quarter. Looks like you guys are doing well with cost controls. Is that something that will be able to stay steady over the next few quarters, these strong margins? Any color you can provide there would be great as well.
Yeah, sure, Andrew. Thanks for the question, and I will take this one. The other revenue was related to a decrease of the P2P-related outstanding loan balance. With a combination of reversal of the overestimate of the refund liability item and other factors, the revenue was generated. It's around like 77 million for this quarter. And actually, it's a non-recurring revenue. With the P2P running down to 0 in November, we should have very little P2P-related revenue in Q4. And going forward, because our P2P outstanding loan balance has decreased to 0, so we'll not see that item anymore. I mean, P2P-related revenue. That's the answer to your first question. And second one, you asked about our margin. And the margin driver actually of our business is very dynamic, which is the final outcome based on the scale of the business, the funding cost, the revenue take rate, and the credit cost, and also the operational efficiency level. You can see some ups and downs of our profit margin historically affected by our compliance efforts, the regulation, the business transition, etc. Since now we have fully exited the P2P business and 100% shifted to the institutional loan facilitation model, and JFIN is now in a much better position than before to further lower the pricing to meet the requirement of the strictest funding partner. We can lower the funding cost by partnering with more financial institutions, lower the credit cost by acquiring better quality asset and improving our risk management capability. And we can also get a better margin by improving our operation efficiency by overall cost control and integration of the advanced technology. And all in all, I think the management team is very confident that from a long-term perspective, our net profit margin will be maintained in a very stable and healthy double-digit level. Well, I hope that helps.
Yeah, great. That was very helpful and good segue into my next question. So can you just provide an update on your client take rate right now and the cost of acquisition, especially now that you guys have transitioned away from P2P lending, and if you guys have a kind of target marks there that you're working towards?
Yeah, our Q3 take rate actually is very similar to our Q2 because in Q3, 100% of our loan origination volume comes from the institutional funding, and it's around 7%. Actually, it's much lower if you compare that with our take rate last year. Last year, our take rate is above 10%. And we are seeing the revenue take rate will keep at that level and probably will get lower once we lower our pricing and lower our funding cost and lower our credit cost. That's the trajectory we are observing.
Great, thank you. And then last question for me for now. Congrats on the acquisition or the investment into Key Investment. Can you just kind of provide some more color around the strategy there and if you guys have plans to make similar investments in the future?
Are you talking about our short-term investment? We made a provision of 34 million RMB this quarter. Yeah,
the acquisition of Key Investment, the 35% stake you guys.
Okay.
I mean.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we acquired 35% of the shares of the company named Key Investment, right? And with the consideration of 105 million Hong Kong dollars. And actually, the decision was made in the first quarter of this year. And we consider this will be very beneficial to our overall business when the decision was made. And the share transfer agreement actually was signed in Q1 this year, and the deal was officially closed by the end of Q3. So if you look at our balance sheet at the end of Q3, the balance of the long-term investment line item increased, and the due from related party balance decreased. So the rationale we made the decision is when we made the decision Q1, we think the micro lending business license will be very helpful and beneficial to our long-term business. So we made this decision. And now we all know that the regulation is kind of getting tightened because of for the micro lending business. But we are still assessing the value of this investment, and we will see what we can do about this investment going forward. Yeah, and now I think everything is open. We are open-minded to this kind of investment, and we will see what we can do about that.
Great, thank you. That's all for me for now.
Thank you. Once again, for those who wish to ask a question, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. Once again, for your questions, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. And to cancel the request, it is the pound hash key. Thank you. And seeing no more questions in the queue, let me turn the call back to CFO, Mr. Charlie Fan, for closing remarks.
Thank you all again. This concludes the call. You may now disconnect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes the conference call for today, and thank you for participating. You can all disconnect.